Type in #manga and I guarantee this series will pop up. Black Torch and its breathtaking art has earned it a spot as a cult favorite to manga readers. Though despite this, it was axed, meaning it was cancelled and set to end at 19 chapters due to poor reception. Now when something fails, it's cancelled, canned, deleted. It doesn't come back. I mean, if it wasn't making money the first time, why try again? But somehow, Black Torch is getting an anime not 1, not 2, but 7 years later. 7 years after it was cancelled. By all definitions, a miracle. I gotta make it clear, this does not happen. So I just gotta ask, why? That's the question I aim to answer with this video. I'll explore this series about a boy and his strange magic feline friend from start to finish, looking at the good, the bad, and the ugly. All to see if an anime is truly warranted, or if they should go ahead and axe that too. And with that, grab a snack and get cozy. This is a long one, so let's begin our deep dive into Black Torch. We watch a brawl under a bridge. The one being beat on disappearing in front of his adversaries to reveal he just performed a ninja technique. The men try again, yet they're all swiftly beaten. Our main character, the one who won the fight, Jirro, now turns around to speak to the animals watching. They thank him. Those fools were continuously causing problems for them. Yeah, he can speak to animals and this seems to cause him a great deal of trouble. As the second he gets home, his grandpa smacks him around for it. It seems to be a common occurrence. We also hear the ninja stuff again. Jirro is from a ninja lineage, but doesn't really care for it. Which his grandpa, well, he feels very disrespected by it. This opening has to be a direct callback to Bleach. Not only had Bleach recently ended when Black Torch began, but Bleach begins with Ichigo beating up guys before talking to his spirit before being beat up by his dad. Literally what happened here, except it's animals and his grandpa. Copy the homework, but change a few things. I'm just kidding. And in fact, it's actually kinda cool to see this. I feel like people are scared to embrace their inspirations, but why wouldn't you want to embrace your inspiration if it's one of the greats like Bleach? Jirro then hears a familiar voice, turning around to find the crow he had assisted earlier. The crow speaks of a cat that has appeared in the forest, and being an animal lover, Jirro rushes after the bird. Deep in the forest they find an injured black cat, mangy and branded with a strange symbol. Worst of all, it's barely breathing. We then see the cat's dreams, remembering its name, Rago, he who devours the sun, the black star of doom. In this dream, Rago is speaking to someone, a being who had woken him up. Back to Jirro. Of course, not knowing what we just heard, and despite the age-old tale of black cats being unlucky, especially ones found in strange situations, Jirro brings the odd furball home. He nurses it back to health, and when Rago finally awakens, he's stunned that a human can hear and understand him. He hides under the bed but quickly loses to milk, allowing Jirro to learn his name and that he's not actually a normal cat. He's a mononoke. Mononoke are evil spirits that hide amongst humans, and Jirro has found one, though Rago's circumstances are strange even for a mononoke. Rago has no memories from his past, and he was asleep for a really long time when he was suddenly awoken. The group of mononoke around him demanded Rago help, and when he refused, he was attacked, bringing us back to when Jirro had found him. These two, despite their kinds seemingly being at odds, have a strange bond already, as while Rago's story sounds unbelievable, Jirro is a human who can speak animal. They're both kinda weird, so it kinda checks out. Though in the background we view some sort of soldier tracking Rago, finding his blood while speaking to her team, all before we see another figure is watching her. Unbeknownst to any of this, Jirro gives Rago a bath, the act reminding him of Nachi, his childhood dog. Jirro was bullied a lot as a kid and came home with wounds often. Every time this happened, Nachi would ask for a bath, telling him to wash his bitterness away with the dirt in her fur, all before thanking him and stating, "When someone else needs your help, I want you to help them too." That's something only Jirro can do. That night it's instantly proved, as while Rago leaves, saying farewell as he thinks Jirro is sleeping, the second he steps out the door, well, Jirro appears. He states Rago is still hurt and can't leave, but Rago has had enough, threatening to kill Jirro as he states mononoke eat humans. They don't belong in the same world, so he needs to stay out of his way. A man then appears out of nowhere. He clearly knows Rago, and as Jirro tells him to go away, he reveals he too is a mononoke. Before Jirro can even process this, the guy is gone, Rago having sent him flying. His goal is to get the beast away from Jirro, yet he doesn't get far before the man catches him and beats him to the ground. He calls Rago the legendary mononoke, the Black Star of Doom, and urges him to come along. But Rago states that he only wants his power, and if that's the case, then he needs to die trying to get it. The beasts dive into an explosive clash, but Jirro appears. Despite not much care for his ninja lineage, Jirro is proud to use it to protect those in need. Rago is still hurt, and in his words, saving someone is never stupid. He offered to help Rago. That means he can't give up halfway. The man transforms into his true state, a ogre-like beast. He strikes Jirro in an instant, but he uses a ninja technique to appear behind him. Alas, he's far too slow. The beast strikes Jirro, leaving a hole in his chest, him now on the ground, dying. The beast cackles, telling Rago he can eat that one. Mononoke eat humans for power, but Rago quickly responds, "Shut up, or I'll kill him." He looks down to Jirro. Did he even consider why Rago left without saying anything? It was a warning, and he ignored it, and now he's died due to it. He can eat Jirro to get his powers back, but he won't. He's decided that instead, Jirro will devour him. Rago disappears into a cloud of smoke on Jirro's chest as he states his life belongs to him now, demanding he open his eyes. Jirro stands up, a scar in Rago's symbol where the hole once was. And as he struggles to grasp the situation, Rago begins to order him around. He guides him away from the ogre's attacks before he tells him to counter, beating the enemy Mononoke into the ground with one insane punch. Yeah, beautiful art here. This spread is beyond insane. As everything calms down, a sword is brought to Jirro's neck. That soldier-like girl that's been lurking around is demanding he stay silent. A group then reveal themselves. They're from the Bureau of Espionage, and they're taking Jirro into custody. The girl knocks him out as the main man states they can't afford to lose him. Jirro is very important for them, and the Mononoke. That concludes the first chapter of Black Torch, and right off the bat, it feels very standard shonen. Standard can be a good thing, but it also can be kind of a negative thing. What's good is this chapter told me everything I need to know about the series going forward while keeping me intrigued. We're told this is a supernatural battle manga with the power systems revolving around ninja techniques and the human-like monster things we're gonna see a lot more often. Plus, the main character drawing all his strength from his cat friend? I mean, I think anybody can get behind that even if you don't love cats. Though when I say very standard, it means it's very similar to other first chapters a lot of other battle shonen have. While what matters is how it branches out and how it evolves, it's not a bad but not an amazing place to start. A comparison I think I'm going to use, probably not the best one, would be Tokyo Ghoul for where Black Torch is beginning. It's kind of around the same time, so you have a character that's dragged into a supernatural situation. They basically die before being resurrected with some strange permanent change. Though I say Tokyo Ghoul because there is one big thing these series have in common in their first chapter. That being the art is actually a pretty big highlight. Other than the nice looking spreads, which Black Torch definitely has and they're posted everywhere on the internet, Jirro and Rago are actually pretty well defined. The art in general is pretty well defined. But I think the touch the manga really has is that the artwork will feel rough, yet super well put together at the same time. I really like this type of look, but that's just a me thing, maybe you don't. Overall, a very
okay opening. I'd probably put it about a 5 out of 10, meaning it's not doing anything amazing, but it's not necessarily doing anything bad. Regardless, we can't forget this manga goes on to be cancelled, but is getting an anime, so.
Jirro wakes up with a really big headache. He just had the strangest dream ever. Though in reality, it all happened. His chest is proof. The girl that knocked him out then speaks. She was keeping watch as he slept for a day and a half. I wish I could sleep that much. But she calls her boss, who quickly introduces them both. The long-haired guy is Shiba, and the girl is Ichika. He goes on to ask if Jirro's ever heard of the Oni Wabanshu. I probably didn't say that right, but they're a ninja organization from times well past. And since then, this infamous government ninja association has operated in secret as the Bureau of Espionage. They do typical government things, including manipulation as well as surveil and eliminate mononoke. And yesterday, one of their facilities were attacked, the one holding Rago. Shiba then finally asks a question. How has Jirro ended up like that with Rago? The question causes unbelievable chaos in the room, with the consensus being not only is the situation permanent, but Jirro is being taken in by them. He's been deemed missing, they have no reason to keep his rights, and now he's stuck in this room all alone, locked in with Rago. Just what a time. This has all happened to him in the span of 2 days. Rago makes it clear to Jirro that what is done, and now he'd be naive to think Shiba wanted to protect them. No matter what its hostility from everyone wants to use Rago for his power. Before Rago can complete his thought, Jirro stands up. He'll solve this problem with his own abilities. We then cut to crows bursting out of the door, Jirro using his ability to speak to animals to make a quick getaway. He promised them some food if they'd help. And now since he's outside, he has one thing he's gonna do. Jirro arrives to his home. He feels like he has to let his grandpa know what he's been involved with. But first, he's told to zip it and follow him. They arrive together at an open space. Jirro questioning everything as his grandpa punches him. Jirro has no idea what he's done. His grandpa's been told everything. How Jiro's been possessed and how he's been chased by the Bureau. He knows because he was a former member of the organization. Rago then appears at Jirro's side, leading rage to build up in his grandpa. Now he's to destroy both Jirro and Rago before leaving the world himself. He jumps to the sky and slams down, destroying Earth before appearing at Jirro's side. And before he knows it, he's hit again and sent flying. His grandpa walks up. That is a martial arts style perfected by their clan, specialized in fighting humans and mononoke. He had taught Jirro the basics, but to think he'd be using it to end his life. He jumps in to end it, yet is blocked by Rago's power, pushing him away with a black ghastly fist. He tells Jirro that his grandpa is seriously trying to kill him. He needs the protection, but Jirro just pushes the power away. He tells Rago to stay out of this moment seemingly reminding his grandpa of a past event. He recalls when a young Jirro fell out of a tree saving a kitten. He caught him but went on to scold him. Jirro's reasoning was that the kitty was crying, his grandpa responding that saving others is noble. However, that's only if you had the strength and resolve to do so. As long as Jirro's half a man, he needs to ask others for help. He tells Jirro to become strong for this reason. In the present, he tells Jirro he stumbled into a path of carnage, one his grandpa knows too well. Jirro will kill humans, mononoke, and his own emotions. He's entered into a shadowy world where the light doesn't reach, and the last thing he ever wanted was for his grandson to set foot into that world. Jirro's grandpa is a real one. While at first killing Jirro seemed hasty and kind of out of nowhere, even if his background was against, mononoke, it's clear Jirro is still Jirro and maybe Rago's not all that bad. Though, we see that the real reason is that he didn't want Jirro's bright life to become darkness like his. It's a fair assumption that this man views his time with the Bureau as horrible. Also, getting to learn the white doggy was also part of this task force is cute. I wish we could still see the doggy. And I'm off topic. Though this action is a testament to how well Jirro's grandpa really knows him and what Jirro's character is like, all seen through this simple flashback. It's clear that Jirro's always been the person who will do anything to help, even at the cost of hurting himself, like shown with the tree and now Rago. While he acknowledges the will to help is a great trait to have, you gotta imagine Jirro's form of helping being joining the world that destroyed him really, well, hurts. He doesn't want Jirro to go through a life of pain like he did, especially knowing how good Jirro is. I really don't know if death was the answer here, but at least the reasoning was solid and tells us a lot about Jirro. It also tells us the world of Mononoke is apparently very, very dark and despairing. And all I can hope is that we actually see that throughout this manga. Jirro responds to his grandpa that he's sorry, but he doesn't regret it. After all, he had helped Rago in need, so now he needs to make things right on his own. That is his resolve. His grandpa dashes at him with full force, the strike very much intending to kill, but Jirro blocks with his forehead, taking the strike head on as he's blown back. His grandpa states this wasn't enough to prove his resolve. He's still half a man, and in response Jirro states that he's not alone anymore. His grandpa told him that if he was half a man, ask for help, meaning it's Rago's time to shine. Watching them speak, his grandpa realizes that Jirro treats everyone equally, even a Mononoke. Just because he spent his life battling them, they muddied his world? That could never happen to Jirro. He closes his eyes and throws in a towel. Jirro wins. That night Jirro soaks as he speaks to Rago. If Jirro dies again, everything Rago did would be for naught. So if he gets cocky again, make sure to use his power and make good use of it. Jirro responds that sounds pretty alright. They're in this together. Does that sound good, partner? Of course, it sounds great to both of them.
I think this chapter really sells Jirro as a protagonist. By shonen standards, he's pretty normal. A hard-headed, fearless hothead. But what is so simple and kinda astonishing is how the love for animals and the animal themes of the story make him very lovable right out the bat. In a world where these two big races are divided, a person who loves both is a need. It's very important for a story like this. And making it so he has the simple ability to speak to both races is very important. I think it makes it pretty hard to hate him, especially because it's animals. I mean, even if you don't like cats, like you don't like Rago, this dude Jirro would see a bird or a snake and love them to death, and I think anybody can relate to that. I also think Jirro is a great character for where the internet is at in general. If everything related to anime is clips, edits, memes, etc., well, a person loving animals is something anyone can attach to. I mean, since the beginning of the internet, sharing animal videos has been a staple. That's never left, and Jirro is just that in a manga. Simple isn't always bad, that's what I'm saying, and Jirro is kind of the perfect example of that. So, he gets a pass from me.
Jirro then packs everything he needs, ready to leave for whatever quest he's about to embark on. And as soon as he goes outside, he finds Ichika. She was assigned to watch and protect him, and the second she gets him into the truck, he's cuffed. Ichika clearly dislikes him, as she goes on to say he's not human, he's fused with the Mononoke, and Mononoke are targets of their group. And in response, Jirro says quite possibly the worst thing ever. He was only being nice, because she's a girl, but, she shouldn't call him a monster. She then destroys the wall behind him. Not only does she hate Mononoke, but people who underestimate her because she's a girl, and therefore, she'll now never acknowledge his existence. It's then everything gets foggy and something approaches the truck. The back jerks, sending everyone flying. The front has been smashed in, the driver's dead, and upon looking outside, it's all because of these two. Slim and Fat Boy, clearly Mononoke. It's interesting because Fat Boy is skinny and Slim is fat. Something might be a bit off here. These two quickly take to insulting Ichika, leaving her enraged as yet again she's looked down at for being a girl, pressing her button on her watch causing her clothes to transform into battle armor. In reality, it was camouflage, which is quite a cool idea for a hidden organization. These Mononoke are in search of Rago. quickly transforming into monsters to attack Ichika. The big one hits hard and sends her flying, while the small one is quick and easily sneaks up behind her, pushing her towards the truck. On the inside, Rago is already aware of what's happening. They're in a barrier, spectral aura fog. Whatever is covered in it merges with the hidden realm, a realm where mononoke live. Rago tells Jirro to stay put. Both Ichika and the mononoke want to use them, but Jirro is Jirro. What he wants to do has nothing to do with their races. Someone is fighting to protect them, and as a man, he can't sit quietly and do nothing. Slim then crashes into the truck and crushes it, sending Jirro flying face first into concrete, where he tells Ichika to remove the cuffs so he can help. At first, she adamantly refuses, yet as it becomes clear she'll stand no chance on her own, she remembers her goal. Her mother died when she was young. Ichika was an only child, and even though social standards wanted only men to take over the clan, Ichika was adamant it would be her. Alongside this memory, Jirro reminds her of a fact. She likes to take pride in her work and complete her missions no matter what, so she needs to do what it takes right now. As Slim comes crashing down, she yet again looks to Jirro, breaking his cuffs and allowing Jirro to summon all his power to one-shot Slim. And as Fat Boy watches shocked, he too is dealt with by Ichika. Beautiful pages. In the aftermath, Ichika states she won't thank Jirro. And even though this angers Rago, Jirro takes it well. She fought to protect him and so he helped. They don't owe each other anything. We then watch Shiba make a formal request to what we can only assume is the highest form of higher-ups, mass floating in some special spectral void. He asks to create a new squad which Jirro acts in as an operative, and even though these masked figures are heavily against it, he seemingly wins them over, announcing a 5-man team called Black Torch. With this, we can finally understand where the manga's name comes from, and therefore we can take a step away from Jirro's introduction and begin to form a squad. Jirro brushes his teeth on a dock while reflecting on what a wild week it's been. Also, he's on a dock because he hates brushing his teeth with toothpaste. That's just disgusting. Shiba comes up to deliver the news. He's a part of his squad, Black Torch, and as he announces it, we see the rest of the members. This is Yusami, the assistant chief. We'll see a bit more of her here and there, but for right now she's on another mission. For now, we'll have to deal with Reiji. Reiji is from a renowned ninja clan and your typical ladies' man. He hits on Yusami and Ichika as soon as he meets them before referring to Jirro as an eyesore. Yup, they don't like each other already, as you might have assumed. And as they seem fated to end up fighting, Shiba tells them to do just that, and take it serious. Shiba has to prove Jirro is an asset. Rago being incredibly powerful is helpful, but only if they cooperate. And this is the perfect opportunity to test it. Rago begins to wake, as Reiji brandishes his sword. It's his clan's specialty, and it's all good to him. After all, Jirro just got a powerful weapon recently. Rago, why can't he use his own? This makes Jirro very angry. Rago isn't a weapon, he's a living being, and this is his own fight. Therefore, Rago will not interfere, leading to Reiji dropping his sword and closing his eyes, finally angering Jirro enough for him to strike. Jirro jumps into the sky to attack, yet Reiji is so skilled he could detect Jirro just based on presence, grabbing his sword in time to smack him back effortlessly. Jirro wipes his face, he's warming up. His grandpa was pretty crazy, and so Reiji's sword means nothing to him. This strikes a nerve in Reiji, him ready for another clash as Jirro jumps in, and while it looks like it'll be a repeat of before, the impact breaks Reiji's sword in two, Jiro's fist connecting with his face to blow him back. Shiba watches on. Jirro really isn't that dumb. He had taken the first hit and learned to predict Reiji's moves, using the second to break his sword. Now it's just them and their fists doing the speaking, and with time both are tired out, sharing a can of juice which turns out to be a trick, then Reiji tricks him back. It's the start of a clear friendship founded on a rivalry, but a seemingly unfriendly rivalry. This is our squad we roll with for the whole manga.
Other than some minor enemies, minor other characters, this is pretty much it. And if I'm being honest, other than Jirro and Rago, him sitting on his shoulder constantly, none of these characters and their designs pull me too much. But I will say that's more subjective than anything. But I'm kind of spoiling it. But later down the line in this manga, there is one character that is a beyond phenomenal design, and you'll understand when you see him. Though I do like how everyone in their archetypes have been introduced. Jirro is our main, there's a smarty perfectionist, and the rough around the edges heroine. We then have Shiba, our leader and sensei. Though sadly due to the manga being cut short later down the line, we never really got to see too much about what he can do other than talk. Finally, we have Usami, who sadly has the same thing as Shiba going on. The manga gets cut before she can do too much. Maybe it would be weird to say the squad kinda reminds me of Naruto. You have the three, there's a normal kind of dumb-headed main character, you got a perfectionist, and then you got a kind of, as I said, rough around the edges heroine. Kinda reminds me of Naruto, but it's kind of an awkward comparison. Overall, standard starting cast. Not amazing, not terrible, kinda like everything else in this manga so far.
It's time for Black Torch's first mission to begin, and after a rundown on the cool combat camouflage equipment, they arrive at a shrine. They all take to praying. After all, they might as well start their new squad off right. But Reiji quickly puts together this shrine is one of the borough's hidden facilities. Jirro steps away annoyed. Dude doesn't want to work. Me neither. Oh, and he notices this guy just sitting there. Yeah, he's definitely up to no good. They don't even try and hide that. In the shrine building, a hidden keypad opens a trap door. On their way down, Shiba curiously asks if Rago will be okay, all before revealing this was the location he was sealed. The big rock in the middle is a sealing statue or killing stone. It's made of rare minerals that can suppress powers. It's also noted this one is by far the largest. Rago really is just that strong. Black Torch is here to investigate what occurred when Rago was unsealed. Shiba and Ichika will look for witnesses while Jirro and Reiji will check out the sealing stone. Obviously Rago needs to be at the stone, but Shiba planned this so that Rago will be more willing to open up. He probably doesn't really trust everyone else. Though in truth, Rago just has no idea about anything. He has no memories of who he was before, and while it sounds insane, Reiji states it sounds right. Mononoke sealed for a long time come back as a shadow of their former self. This is all because when a creature is sealed, it's forced to possess the object, meaning it's constantly using all of its energy to control that object. But because this is an inanimate object, nothing really happens besides them using their power. The Mononoke is trapped with their energy slowly fading, everything turning to darkness as their mind eventually goes as well. Rago then begins to speak about what had happened when he was unsealed. He opened his eyes to a group of Mononoke, one holding a tablet with the man speaking. The man told Rago that things have changed for them. They are barely living, and they've now reached a limit. They request Rago awaken and lend him his power, so that they can reclaim the world, showing their fearsome power to ignorant humans and to beat their enemies, the Bureau of Espionage. Rago went on to deny the offer and run away, all before he found Jirro. And with this, we do know a few things. Somehow, there's a person who can unseal Mononoke safely. Then, we can assume the man on the tablet knew Rago at one point, and that his goal is clearly revenge against humanity and the Bureau. Of course, being a hot-headed knucklehead, Jirro doesn't care at all to think about it. He knows exactly how to solve everything. He'll just beat the crap out of everyone and make them cough up what he needs to know. Though of course, once one reaches a set resolve, another must appear to test it. With a crumble and crack, that strange man outside has appeared, instantly blitzing behind them, stating he finally gets to meet Rago. Obviously, this is another Mononoke, an important one at that. He knew exactly where Rago was sealed, meaning it's time to begin their first battle. He introduces himself as Koga. His goal? Rago, of course. He describes Mononoke as semi-immortal. They don't die of old age, yet can be mutilated and lose their spiritual power by not eating. Yet Rago is special, that's why everyone wants him. He regenerates no matter what. He has no real need to eat. The second he finishes eating, he spouts a horn and slams both of them to the ground, grabbing Rago as he demands he become his. They'll become the immortal king of Mononoke. Rago refuses immediately, Koga shaking him with tears in his eyes, the distraction allowing Reiji to hit him with a devastating slash. In response, he angers, finally manifesting his full power. Though, he doesn't really become a monster. Rather, he generates this wicked broadsword. Really cool actually. Interesting way to use these powers as, well, they don't just physically transform, they can transform objects. Koga slams the earth and shakes the shrine, directing his massive a weapon to Reiji to shatter his sword and blow him away. Jirro jumps in from above, yet he too is blocked and pushed away by one big strike. By now, Koga can't shut up. He's rambling, something that really bothers Jirro and Rago. They've now decided to use their full power. They'll beat him in one big blow. Smoke clears and Koga's weapon is completely destroyed, demanding the power yet again before stating he's going home. He can kill Jirro anytime, but then he won't have Rago. Before he leaves, he asks Jirro's name, and in response he snickers, saying, "So you're that guy's kid, huh?" Then disappearing, leaving one insane big question about Jirro's father. Regardless, things have also been happening outside the battle. Shiba and Ichika have been shut out by a barrier, the realization occurring as the chief of the bureau appears, Toko Kusumi. They work on breaking down the barrier as it's revealed Shiba knew she was coming and using her as backup in case it went wrong. Went wrong on a mission he was never even approved for. With this event, everyone is down. Ichika wasn't able to do anything, Reiji was obliterated in battle, and Jirro is left with question on question. So the next chapter we head straight into a training exercise. They meet Fuo, a mononoke on the bureau's side. The reasoning being that they only take care of mononoke that are threats to the public. So this one's just good. Not gonna lie, this reasoning seems cheap to me, but I'll run with it. Their training today is how to counter supernatural magic. Fuyo casting a spell that captures them into a lotus that gives them illusions. Reiji realizes this quick, his brother Shinji appearing before him and attacking. We then view their backstory. Reiji was beat by his brother often, his father viewing his strength proudly, making it clear Shinji will inherit the clan. No matter what though, they were brothers. Despite being twins, Reiji was behind, yet would look up to his sibling. He was okay with everything. The day finally came for the ritual to inherit the clan. Shinji would have to take the Yamakaze, a demonic mononoke possessed sword, from a cave and come back unpossessed. Though when the day finally came, he left in a slaughter, looking at Reiji with tears in his eyes, telling him to become stronger so that one day he can kill him, before disappearing. In the illusion, Reiji is struggling against his brother, yet he knows he has to see this through so he can eventually see the real thing, recalling a promise to be there if he ever messed up before one-shotting him, ending the illusion. Ichika views herself with their mother, recalling the last time she saw her before she died on a mission for the bureau. At first, she didn't understand why her mother was never coming back, though with time, she began the journey to become strong so that she could one day inherit the clan, and in the process, she had felt like she became closer with her mother. The day eventually came where she too joined the bureau, and it would seem like her father thought it was time to know the truth. Ichika was brought before a stone statue of her mother, her trapped inside. While she wasn't dead, the spell seemed to be unbreakable, and though her father could only show her this through a letter, he tells her that everything is now up to her. Ichika swears on this statue that she'll save her, but then it speaks. A crazed phantom breaking away from the stone to attack, though Ichika quickly one-shots it. Illusions don't work on her. She's not a little girl. Jirro's illusion, on the other hand, seems a bit different, as while he has no idea about it, Rago has a strange feeling, revealing the two of them face a giant ghastly beast. It smashes them back as it begins to speak. They want to know what it is? Then it'll just show them. consuming them in a dark mist as the petal Fuyo created becomes unstable. She can't control it. They need to break out of it on their own, or they'll be trapped forever. Jirro and Rago find themselves before the shrine and sealing stone, realizing it's the past as they watch a boy pray to Rago. Rago was acting as a local deity. Monsters would stay away from the area because of him, and in return the villagers would bring him stuff. It's then a mysterious man walks forth, gowned in strange clothes, piercings, and two-toned hair. Rago recognizes him as Amagi, another mononoke that would treat him as an equal. And with this, President Rago instantly realizes he was the man on the tablet speaking. The man who had broken him out of the stone was Amagi. In this illusion of the past, Amagi is referred to as a god of a holy mountain, and he left such a position due to a threat of humans hunting Mononoke, the group that would become the Bureau. He explains how they've become a threat, hunting and succeeding in killing countless Mononoke. Therefore, he simply asked Rago to join his war. Yet Rago was uninterested. Not only did he fail to understand the situation, but he had no idea how serious Amagi was. Amagi returned with the head of Rago's follower, the sight instantly transforming Rago into rage itself, becoming the Black Beast and firing a beam of nuclear energy that would level the area for miles, leaving Amagi heavily injured. Yet despite this, he continues to speak. Rago now has no choice. Humans will never permit him to be a deity now. He has leveled an entire village. Amagi states Rago can either become an enemy of all, humans and Mononoke, or he can join Amagi and his kind in his war. It's a pain. Rago sighs in frustration. Everyone thinks they can just tell him what to do, and so he chose to fuse himself into the stone, sealing himself away and taking responsibility for everything. Presently, Jirro thinks that's a load of crap. He just dodged the issue. But it's alright, he can't speak about the past. But now, Rago has Jirro. He is a friend. Their bond is proof the boundary between species never bothered Rago in the first place. The angry Rago of the past then yells. It will not accept this, intending to kill them both so that it can return to its slumber, sealing them both permanently. We cut back to Fuyo in the real world, struggling to break the illusion when Jirro smashes through it. So much for being trapped forever. Kinda anticlimactic. That was a little too easy.
With this, another section of Black Torch is finished, and while we got a ton of stuff relating to the story, world, all of that stuff, but before we get to that, I want to expand on some things I think Black Torch isn't doing so well. While I do enjoy the art quite a bit, the spreads are pretty and I love the use of black ink and how rough everything feels, yet how controlled it feels. But I think for the most part the action fight scenes aren't put together too well. Oftentimes the fight scenes will be on the shorter end, like just now with these illusions. I mean, everything got one shot. When we do see a fight though, I don't get a sense of urgent, impactful action. Like this page of Ichika. I mean, they're meant to be moving so fast and so strong that we can't see them and there's blows everywhere, but I do not get the sense that is happening at all. I mean, this page in general just looks boring. Commonplace manga elements like screen tones or action lines are missing for the most part. While I'm not saying they need to be used, there's been manga scenes that haven't used them that still look great. In this case, them not being here, things like that, just the overall elements make everything look very flat. A lot of the fight scenes in this manga will look flat. While the manga started strong, I think, when it came to the action and combat, from here on out, it's kinda wishy-washy. I point this out because Black Torch was produced monthly, meaning you get one chance every 30 days to wow your reader so that they read the next chapter next month. And considering the main appeal of this is for teenagers, it being a supernatural battle manga, well, they're gonna want to see action and more battle. And that needs to be put together well and happen a little bit more. Though ultimately, I don't think this is something I can be ultra peeved about. An anime can fix this issue very quick, and I imagine it likely will. things already by default feel a lot more alive, animated, except maybe One Punch Man. Of course though, there's no guarantee of that, we just gotta hope, but I think this is something that could be fixed in the anime. Aside from that though, what the story's going for so far is pretty alright actually. We've learned a lot recently, one of the biggest points being Amagi and Rago, which I gotta say, yes, Amagi is that person I said has an amazing design and thing going for him. Amagi is probably the best part of this manga, cause he's just cool. Reiji and his brother also have a pretty interesting thing going on. You know, ninja story, revenge, it's gotta be in there somewhere. As does Ichika. I actually really like her storyline and character, all things considered. Ichika is introduced as a woman who hates being looked down upon for being a woman with a sad woman-based backstory. The backstory being not only interesting, but offering up a good reason for the way she's acted up to this point, already building her up fairly well. Sadly, I do have to say this isn't explored much, if at all, past this point, as Black Torch did end very early. But with a character like Ichika, it's very disappointing, as I think if the series got to go on, she would have been amazing and a very refreshing character. But hey, I feel like I'm getting off track now. I could probably pick and complain about things for a while, so let's get back to the story. We're only about halfway through, and we have a lot more to talk about.
We pick back up in a dire situation. The media reports it as a terror attack, but in reality it's a mononoke attack. They've surrounded a city in a barrier, and since apparently large-scale attacks like this are rare, this is where Black Torch comes in. They have 3 goals: rescue the people the mononoke are feeding off of, dispel the barrier, and capture enemies. Their big main goal is anything towards Amagi. As the operation officially begins, we get a look at our adversaries: a horned girl holding up the barrier, a strong-armed brute, and some sort of mage, controlling the people so they can feast on them. Curiously, Rago senses one more very strong hidden foe somewhere nearby, and as Jirro tries speaking to the birds for intel, the brute lands right behind them. He looks down at them all, smiling at the sight of Rago. Jirro tells Reiji and Ichika to split up and go. He'll handle this one. And as they run off, battle begins. Jirro dodges the first strike. Sure, this is to be easy since his opponent is slow and beefy, summoning all of his power and striking. Yet for the first time, an opponent tanks his blow. The brute fully transforms to strike Jirro down, all while revealing he was once a god of a mountain forest. The brute recalls people would pray and sacrifice in his name. In return, he would protect them. Yet once the Bureau showed up, they plotted alongside them to ruin him. All to say, Mononoke believe humans began this war. In his eyes, Jiro's just another step to pave a new era. And while we don't see the attack, Jirro is able to dodge and is now taken to wearing Rago's power as a cloak. The brute destroyed his getup, the vest appearing to have restricted him and Rago's power. It's now overflowing out of them, and so the second the brute attacks, he's one shot. Both of them are very surprised. They both tried to just block and, well, the brute exploded. And as Rago thinks on it, he realizes his power is actually growing. Rago then recalls all the moments he's heard about Mononoke eating human energy, before thinking on how he shares a body with Jirro. He comes to the conclusion the whole time he's been eating Jiro's vital life force energy without realizing. In the background, the other members of Black Torch have been fighting, beginning with Ichika. She faces the mage who is controlling the humans. She instantly dives in as he dodges, whipping his flag into a flurry to reveal he's created an illusion, both of them now standing atop a torii gate. The mage relishes in his hatred of humanity and his illusions, remarking how fun it is to break humans with the sights he shows, leaving Ichika to scream, humans aren't toys for him. The flag transforms into a spear as they clash, Ichika dodging and grabbing the spear to throw him off the gate, yet he sprouts wings. It's his illusion, he can make literally anything happen, and to prove it, he throws Ichika into a schoolgirl outfit. Yes, I'm so serious. Initially she's flustered, though she knows this is an illusion, and thanks to their training, she knows exactly what to do. Using her active camo, she disappears before jumping the mage from the sky, locking him between her thighs to slam him into the ground. She destroys his horn and breaks the spell, remarking that it might be a game to him, but to humans they're serious. Don't underestimate him. Reiji, as bad luck would have it, is faced with that super strong opponent Rago detected, and at face value he's a shady swordsman. But once Reiji views his sword, it's clear that this is his brother. A fact that becomes apparent as he's slashed clear through his armor. Shinji smiles at him. Reiji won't even call him brother? He responds that the human he had called brother is dead, but Shinji tells him to face the truth. He knows it's clearly still him. Their blade meets as Reiji acknowledges the truth, breaking down as he asks why he's on the side of the mononoke. Shinji simply replying that it's convenient, before telling Reiji that everything here is his fault. Like in the illusion, they go back to their childhood. Reiji had beaten Shinji, and in response his father slapped him. How could Shinji call himself a heir to the clan after that? Yet Shinji states this moment isn't what drove him away. It was the fact that from then on, Reiji would deliberately lose to him. With time, Shinji won more and more, and Reiji would just smile. Even when Shinji would train till he bled, Reiji was always one step behind with the smile. It was, without a doubt, on purpose. Sure, it wasn't malicious, but it showed that Reiji had inherited their clan's blood thicker than him. He slashes Reiji back. This is why he had to be stronger, so he could be a good heir, so he could be a good brother, and so he could be himself. He was willing to use anything. Rage carrying him on, Reiji jumps forward, his strike splitting the earth. But from the dust, Shinji grabs his blade, demanding Reiji get serious, to give him more serious killing intent. All as he strikes Reiji down in one blow. Reiji sits there bleeding, accepting defeat as he battles the thought he made his brother a monster. But to his astonishment, Shinji smiles and leaves. It's exactly like that night. Again, he's left alone. Reiji screams to the sky as we cut back to Jirro and Rago. The two of them walk the streets together. Rago mixed up over his past realization when a car screeches through the street, stopping and the door opening to reveal Amagi. He fixes his suit as he looks to the both of them. Rago has finally opened his heart to a human, all so he could eat away at him. He lights a match to say that Rago is slowly burning away Jirro's life force, all until it's snuffed out like a candle. Despite this, Jirro demands he and Rago power up again. He doesn't want to let Rago eat him, but the last thing he wants is Amagi to kill him. Yet in an instant, Amagi one-shots him, dropping him to the floor as he gasps for air. Rago threatens him, and though Rago apparently isn't a threat to him, he doesn't want Jirro to use all of Rago's power. Amagi demands a deal. Rago swears complete loyalty right here and now, and he'll consider letting Jirro live. It's then Koga appears, revealing the boy is with Amagi all along. And with his arrival, everything is ready. Amagi will remove Rago from Jirro. The way he'll do this is by pushing a huge amount of energy onto Jirro, enough to eventually pop a hole into his own energy, like a balloon, allowing him to extract Rago through the hole in the balloon. But as you can imagine with any process, the more struggling, the messier it gets, meaning more pain for Jirro. In the background, Black Torch reunites everyone except Jirro and Rago, Chief Kasumi arriving as things appear wrong. She's decided that she'll be sending two of her own operatives into the city, operatives of Black Cloak, a squad of elites. And yes, Shiba definitely copied their name. The ground shakes as the extraction begins, Rago breaking down as the process rumbles on. Is this really all he can do for Jirro? It's then Jirro reawakens and grabs Rago's tail. Why is he loafing around? They started this fight together, so Rago doesn't get to decide to just get up and go. Amagi's voice then booms. Rago better come out. The time to make that deal is now or never. But thankfully, backup arrives. In a split second, the area is destroyed and Koga is pushed away with destructive force. The two operatives of Black Cloak and Kasumi on the scene as Amagi reveals he's taken Rago and will be leaving. All as Jirro is stuck on the floor. It fading to black as he watches Rago leave. Watches his partner, his power, and friend be taken before his very eyes.
Putting aside the craziness that just happened, I do want to talk about something I think an anime wouldn't even help Black Torch with. That being its overall setting and lackluster feeling world building. Black Torch's story isn't the most original, all things considered. Let's just be real, I've been saying this from the beginning. So if anything, when you have a very standard shonen story, you should be willing to jump out of the box and try some crazy things. Things like having a crazy setting or having some crazy lore of things. But Black Torch kind of suffers on that end. In this story, other than one special location we see later on, we pretty much go random place to place without an explanation of what's happened here and why it's so important. But I personally think having a very normal, grounded in real life setting for a supernatural manga is very wrong. Like you're telling me, Mononoke, these supernatural creatures aren't getting into or doing crazy random things around the world or have their own habitats, areas, stuff like that. We're expected to believe just it's all normal and they appear maybe like once every 100 years. Or like there isn't more lore between today's people in them. I mean, if this is a war that's been going on forever, you'd expect more tension and history. I think seeing that would be really cool. Other manga might do things like introducing families or groups, etc., having some lore in places like that. As I said, Black Torch isn't the most original feeling story. I think elements like this could have helped it stand out a lot. That's why I'm pointing it out.
Amagi waltzes into the barrier he created for Rago, finding the cat complaining despite the fact he not only got him a fluffy cat bed, but a human meal. And when Rago denies the meal, well, he kills it. Then going on to speak about how humans are inferior, prompting Rago to ask if he thinks Mononoke should take their place. Amagi states he simply believes in returning the world to its natural state, where the weak worship the strong. One thing bothers Rago though. Why get him involved? Amagi reveals he tried this takeover once before and lost. Humans are fragile but very strong together, while Mononoke have no idea how to work together, their species born alone. And Amagi believes the power that'll make it all successful is Rago. Rago says sure, he'll help, that's what the deal was, leaving Amagi with a shocked expression as an explosion rings out. He picks Rago up. Where's his tail? The cat reveals it was left alongside all of his power inside of Jirro. Amagi throws him, summoning his power in clear anger, before detonating the spot Rago lies. The rest has now been left up to Jirro, where we return to him stuck in a warehouse sitting before the members of Black Cloak. They want to make sure he's stable with the loss of Rago, but he really couldn't care less. He just took the most devastating loss of all and wants to smash everything up. He removes the power limiting vest from his chest before he struggles against the operative. And though the man hopes this will calm him down and it'll be a lesson, it only makes Jirro worse. As the chief waits outside for a certain someone, the warehouse entrance explodes. Jirro emerging fully covered by Rago's power, but it's clear he's lost control. In a second, he blitzes towards the operative, barely missing a blow before taking one to the face. Him further losing control as the cloak transforms into a jaw and shoots a blast with more destructive force than ever. But from the smoke, a new face appears. Jirro has pulled his grandpa out of retirement and doesn't even recognize him, pouncing at him to get blocked, uppercutted, before he sends Jirro back to his senses in a single strike. And like, we knew he was strong, but damn. Everyone remarks about the same, revealing Jirro's grandpa trained the chief before she was even the chief, meaning he's been around for a long time and must be very strong. His grandpa inquires about what they'll do to Jirro, learning he'll likely be forever quarantined because the risk of danger is too great. And on cue, Jirro wakes up. He knows he had lost control completely. He knows he was seriously trying to kill them, and he almost did. His grandpa then smacks him right across the face. Jirro, you're not killing me. And remember, calm down and ask others for help. That's why he's here, so Jirro better relax. What a good grandpa. Ichika solemnly sits on a dock when Usami approaches. Ichika is down because there's not much she can do. Usami goes on to say she's similar, though her special duty is that she can sit here and listen, be a shoulder for the others to cry on. And so she tells Ichika there's definitely gotta be something out there for her. Shiba then approaches. Speaking of special duty, well, he's got something. That mage mononoke they captured, the one she fought before, will only speak if it's her. So yeah, she heads in. She steps into his illusion, his first demand being she become his bride? He states he worked under Amagi for the thrill, but when he met Ichika, there was a new thrill. Forbidden love. Ichi tries to take advantage of this by being cutesy, and it doesn't work. What does is when she dominates him. So yeah, she's just gonna be questioning him about what Amagi's doing while we see everything else. Deep in the mountains we see Koga and Rago. Rago only alive because Koga jumped in to save him, as even if his power is all stuck inside Jirro, he's a mononoke like them. This brings up a pretty good point. If Amagi wanted Mononoke to rule, then Rago having lesser power would be okay. The truth is, of course, and it's been very clear, Amagi really only cares for his power. Rago has made that clear since the very beginning of the story. Everyone only wants him because of his strength. Amagi smiles as he walks out of the barrier. He's meeting with his companions. His great plan is a bit out of order now, but all is well. Rest assured, everything will work out perfectly. Cutting back to Jirro, he joins his grandpa in a Vidya forest, a Mononoke's domain, Ibuki's domain. Ibuki and the Bureau entered into a pact of mutual non-aggression long ago, and his grandpa plans to send Jirro in to learn and control his power. But apparently Ibuki said come into the forest and he'll be killed. Anyways, they just send Jirro into the forest. Ibuki has a reputation for being odd, so they try and say this is a reason. Maybe Jirro will be intriguing. But in reality, the hope is Jirro either learns to control his erratic power, or he stays trapped in Ibuki's mystical forest forever, never coming out. And as harsh as it sounds, even Jirro's grandpa acknowledges this is the best possible option. The second Jirro steps into the forest, he listens to countless animals' whispers berating him and wishing for him to leave. And despite it making him sound crazy, he introduces himself before saying if they have a problem, bring it on. It's then, as he's thinking if he should eat some potentially poisonous mushrooms, he's attacked by an even more venomous threat. A snake, which he catches and speaks to. The snake is beyond stunned that he can actually communicate with it. They continue to speak and the snake concludes it would probably be smarter for the Bureau to take Jirro in. Considering Amagi is hunting him, it would be better for not only Jirro, but humanity. In response, Jirro states, nobody cares about Rago himself. It's just his power they worry about. If he gets taken in, sure it solves other issues, but it doesn't solve anything about Rago. The snake then concludes Rago must be dead, everything considered. Yet Jirro knows he's alive. He's alive because Jirro needs to shove his power down Rago's throat. He needs to tell Rago this is way too big for him to go solo, so he's gotta pitch in. Jirro then gets sick because of the mushrooms and goes to the river. But there, he encounters who we can only guess is Ibuki. The being states he was warning him, summoning a scythe to its hands as it readies to make Jirro face the consequences. He blitzes behind a tree and sends Jirro flying. The vest destroyed in the process, meaning Rago's power leaks out of Jirro instantly. It's sent out in waves as it consumes him, yet the deer-headed Mononoke simply doesn't care. It brings down its scythe when time freezes. At first, Jirro thinks his life is flashing before his eyes, but when that snake from before appears, it becomes clear something far more grand is occurring. Jirro states that he can't die yet. There's things he needs to do. If he could just use Rago's power. but the snake stops him. No human could ever use Rago's power. It's a mononoke's. He simply asks what Rago is to Jirro. A weapon? Monster? Enemy? Annoying? Jirro begins to say none of it when the monsterized Rago appears. The snake states this is a giant ball of power that has lost its container. It has no will, so its actions are influenced by Jirro's mind. If he denies it, it'll deny him. The snake states that Jirro can't control it, but he can't let the power control him. Him and the power need to stand together, as equals, shoulder to shoulder. And as Jirro reaches out, these words in his mind, time unfreezes. With an explosion, the being's sight is broken. It blown back as it becomes clear Jirro can control the power after all. Yet as he remarks about it, he blacks out.
Of course, in a supernatural manga like this, controlling the monster on the inside is a normal trope you'll see, and I actually really like it here. Like, this is a scene I cannot wait to see in the anime. Though of course, seeing it this early into a series, controlling that internal monster at chapter 15 means it's going to end soon. This is a dead giveaway to that fact, but knowing we got it so early, and knowing there wasn't much time to build it up, I think it was actually done pretty well. Everything we've gotten so far states there's a big divide between these species, something all-loving Jirro doesn't see. Matter of fact, he doesn't even really consider it. He treats Rago like any other human, his brother or sister. I think it is a very big statement to his character and a very big defining moment that by just being reminded that he needs to think of the powers as equal, stand shoulder to shoulder to it, he masters it. He didn't need to go through a struggle of learning this because that's who he is. Jirro is a guy who thinks of himself as an equal to anyone, even if they're from a different species. And I think that's pretty cool. I mean, how can you hate that? And with what was given, even though the mangaka wasn't able to build this form up over a long period of time, I think that was the way to reveal it and to do it. Pretty good, all things considered, and actually, a pretty big point I'll give to Black Torch.
Sun rises as Jirro wakes up to, oh my god, whoa, what the? The woman states she helped him the whole time and let him lay on her lap, revealing she was not only the white snake, but she was the ruler of the forest, Ibuki. In reality, the school guy was Manjimaru, her once human husband. He was assigned to destroy Ibuki hundreds of years ago, but was quickly beat, leading him to swear to challenge her till she's defeated. She laughed this off before suggesting he give up. A human dedicating its life to a mononoke never goes well, leading him to take it a step further. He'll dedicate his entire life to just her. And so it kinda just happened. Guy got lucky. Superpowers and a beautiful girlfriend? W. All this was to say race and species don't matter, something Jirro knows all too well but needed to be reminded of. This sets the stage for Jirro to be trained by Manjimaru. He needs to learn to control his power fast. The battle with Amagi rapidly approaches. But first, he asks why Ibuki even cares. She states they simply can't leave Amagi to his own devices, and like Rago had, she too knew Amagi in the past. She opens with how Amagi never fit in with other mononoke. He catered to no one and never opened up. He was overall cold, meaning it was no surprise he constantly fought others. But before long, nobody fought him. She reveals the astonishing fact that Amagi is a cannibal. He is unique in the way he can consume other mononoke to be stronger, not just humans. Anybody who tried him was devoured. Everything he stands for is survival of the fittest. He devours or turns others into tools under him. Upon meeting Ibuki, he tried to turn her to a tool as well. And when she turned him down, he surprisingly didn't fight her, saying he had a chance of losing and he can't afford to die to her. He states mononoke will either be enslaved or destroyed, and living at the mercy of his species beneath them, he would rather die. We then cut to him, he too recalling that moment where he swore he wouldn't live under humans. But this time he won't make mistakes. The weak are the food for the strong, revealing he has consumed all of his compatriots he summoned, devouring them to increase his own power. Shinji then appears, surprised yet not confused about the actions of Amagi. It makes sense now. He went through all the insane effort of removing Rago so he too could be consumed. Every single one of them will be a step for his ambitions. Yes, it is terrifying, and considering he's a villain, you want it to be a bit scary, it is very well put together. Back in the barrier, things become clear for them too. Rago puts everything together as Amagi appears, his power overflowing as he consumes the witch holding the barrier in an instant, leaving Koga shocked. He summons his sword and attacks, but is thrown away. And as Amagi is sure to devour him too, Rago stands up. Rago defends Koga for protecting him before. When Amagi tried to blow him up, Koga stepped in. But not only that, keeping Rago alive is the perfect way to draw Jirro in. With this, Koga throws his sword away and leaves. Amagi is a mononoke. He's a monster. He thinks on this, before asking Rago if he remembers when he was born. Rago doesn't, but Amagi does clearly. It was the sky just like now. Mononoke don't have parents nor children. They form from the sea of emotions in the world. In the beginning, they come out of nowhere. They're truly alone. Amagi was born from nothing, filled with nothing but an urge to find himself. Nothing but an urge to create the being that would be himself. He quickly came across another Mononoke, beating him effortlessly and consuming him. Learning the hunger subsided as he grew stronger from his own kind. The woman he saved praised him, leading to him acting as their god, protecting them from every threat. He became respected, strong, and loved amongst his followers. So much so that when he faced his first loss, he was given a sacrifice to save the village. Rago listens as Amagi justifies this. They were right. Due to the sacrifice of one, many were saved. Though in his eyes, they were only saved because they were weak. They placed their fate in the hands of the strong. Amagi states Koga was wrong. He is not a monster. He's a true mononoke. From now on, that term will not refer to individuals. It will be the term for an all-powerful being. It'll be the term for himself. He will guide the world towards the correct future. That is what a true mononoke should be.
Amagi wanted Mononoke to live above humans. We know that for a fact. Whether it was them going back to being worshipped or ruling strictly, he wanted their race to be the one above all. The way he wanted to do this was by beating the group hunting them in a war, just completely wiping them out. But now he's decided, I can do it alone. He's used his unique power to take his allies' strength, because in his eyes he can not only prove his race is stronger, but that he's the strongest of all. Overall, super simple guy, villain with a really cool design. Maybe he's a bit too simple, but it's alright. Though contrasted to Jirro, a very simple character that already works pretty well, it actually evens out. It's weird. Their goals end up being a clash of simple ideals, and from there, it actually does get better. Jirro is all for everyone getting along. Very simple in that idea. He wants humans and Mononoke to be friends forever, while Amagi wants to prove his species is above all and himself is above everything. It makes the rather simple clash of ideals feel very planned and very almost fated. I also think his cannibalism power proved a pretty big part of making us not like him and want to root for Jirro as well, even if it seemed, kind of random in the way it was used. Amagi was introduced leading a cause, a group of people to war to beat the humans, and all of a sudden, he's now eating that group and making them his power. It's random, but well, he's scarier and it makes his ideal more intimidating, so I think it works. Maybe this was intentional, but I think at one point Amagi was meant to be the leader of a big group and it was meant to be like a final war was gonna happen, but there wasn't time for it. Though due to this series being cut short, I don't think the mangaka had time to write out a whole war like what was implied, so he just made Amagi consume his allies. It fits into his viewpoint that he's been given, it makes him scarier, and he kind of has more impact because of this, like he's more intimidating. I think it ends up working out. He manages to stick out despite the overall kinda simple plot. I think he's probably the most memorable part of this series, everything considered, because of just how well he ends up meshing into it, even if he's simple. I probably didn't explain that as well as I could have, but hey, the final battle is about to start and I promise you, it's actually really cool.
In the background, everything has been moving steady. Ichika was able to learn Amagi's barrier location from the mage, though they have no idea where the exit will be. Jirro has also been brought out of the forest, where he can now access Rago's power. Note that I say access. Him controlling it perfectly was never ever going to happen, he can only really use it for about a half an hour. Jirro walks up fired up more than ever. He can't sit this one out. He's gonna rescue Rago and beat Amagi, though he's even remembered the lesson he learned from his grandpa. He asks them, can they help him with that? Time passes and Amagi's barriers revealed itself. He's opened it up right in front of Black Torch's headquarters, meaning the time for battle is soon. Koga then appears, and while you'd assume he's there to wreck stuff, he wants to speak to Jirro. He fills in everyone with what we've seen from their side, Rago's condition, Amagi's actions, and most of all, his overwhelming power. And as if on cue, the attack begins. Black Torch springs into action, mission get Jirro to Rago and Amagi. Everyone teams up to make it possible. Soldiers deal with mononoke pests as does Jirro's grandpa. Ichika and Reiji defend him on the journey towards the barrier. And when things get dire, even Koga jumps in, giving him the finger and telling him to go. Side note, Jirro's dad is never brought up again since Koga first mentioned it, though I'm making a small guess that maybe a plot was later gonna happen where they're related in some way. I mean, they look very similar, and he was the one to bring that up for a reason. Though with the path cleared, Jirro crashes in and slides into the barrier. Face to face with Amagi and Rago, the beast of a villain sitting there demanding authority. All I gotta say is, yeah, he's scary. Jirro asks, why did he devour his allies? Amagi stating he'd rather have one missile than 100 bullets. Jirro continues, why do you hate humans? Hate? He doesn't hate them. He cannot just abide by a world where the weak rule. Jirro calls bullshit. Amagi says it's logical. Both completely opposite in viewpoints. Using active camo, Jirro punches Amagi in the jaw. Even normal humans can deck him straight in the face. Amagi calls it childish as he lashes out, destroying Jirro's vest in one strike. Meaning now's the time to borrow Rago's power. In a split second, he appears before Amagi to strike, blowing him away and now standing there as Amagi begins his own transformation. Emerging from a blacked out cocoon, Amagi has now reached his pinnacle. Skeletal, strong, rock-like armor accompanied by insane power. They clash, an all-out battle to see if humans or Mononoke are stronger. But not only that, to see if one needs to rule or if they are all equal. They clash as the sky shakes and the earth rumbles. Amagi upping the heat as he fires a blast at Jirro, yet he remains unfaltered. Jirro is a black beast, straddling the line between human and Mononoke, and the second that changes, Amagi will feast. As the fight rages on, Jirro begins to slip, becoming more and more bestial, leading to Amagi readying to finish it. Jirro is smashed to the ground as Amagi speaks. He and Jirro are intrinsically the same. They have power and therefore they are feared. But whatever the case, they have no choice but to use that power to fulfill their goals. With this, he grasps Jirro's chest, ready to devour his heart. But Jirro isn't done yet. He opens the jaw and fires a nuclear blast, destroying everything and leaving Amagi with a missing arm, though Jirro then falls while pointing away. At first, it would seem like Jirro's died with the blaze of glory, but in reality he was pointing to a freed Rago. His blast freed him from the cage and allowed him to jump on Jirro's chest, demanding he wake up as the sky erupts into black smoke. It's the end, and in the end they're back to square one. But all I gotta say is, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Amagi raises his hand. Simplicity is best. Yes, that's the way he does things. If he cannot consume Rago, then he'll just erase them both with overwhelming power. As he launches a spear made with pure energy, Jirro jumps up, intending to use every drop of energy and punch Amagi, a beast appearing in his eyes as they make contact. smashing Amagi into the ground with enough force to create a crater. Jirro yells into the hole. He's learned something from Amagi. 2 are stronger than 1. The ground then cracks as Amagi emerges with a smile. That's a great point. It's logical. Though if that's the case, this isn't 2 against 1. It's them versus the 108 he's eaten. Amagi atop the tower he's created barrages the ground with power-sucking tendrils, forcing Jirro and Rago on the defense as he slowly tears away their power. Jirro then finally decides he's had enough and makes a demand. He'll fly to Amagi. All he needs is his partner to give him a hand. He jumps forward like always. He'll punch Amagi. Rago smacks him in the back, sending him flying so he can use the momentum to strike Amagi straight in the chest, ripping a hole in him and crumbling everything he's built. On the ground, Amagi stands up. Victory is theirs. His grand plan ends here. He was proven right. They're stronger and he's weaker. No matter what, the strongest was to survive. He tells Jirro to escape and go on, find enemies that he can destroy over and over again to prove their might is right. Be strong. He'll be watching from hell. From there, Jirro wobbled towards the gate before blacking out, waking up in a hospital bed. He had slept for 3 days. Reiji and Ichika had saved him, and since then everything has been wrapped up. But not quite everything. There's a few odds and ends left over. Oh, and then his computer freezes. Yeah, Jirro was writing all of this on a computer in the aftermath. Rago then reflects on Amagi's words. He wasn't wrong. Power does indeed always win, though it matters what you decide to do with that power. When Jirro has to make such a choice, Rago will be right there. It's then the rest of Black Torch appears, ready for their next journey, and of course, that includes Jirro and Rago, ending our story.
Everything I just covered is going to be adapted into the Black Torch anime, and considering characters and their storylines just dropped off a cliff, of course it was a rushed ending. But even if it was rushed, I think there was a pretty solid ending pulled off, everything considered. The final battle is easily the most enjoyable and craziest of the whole series. I think dedicating the whole chapter to the battle instead of a war or something was the correct choice. This fight really cements Amagi, the main villain, and Jirro, the main character, for the series. Not only in their cool moments, but their goals, ideals, and characters, making them memorable. This fight did a pretty good job showing them in their entirety, and I think that's a good thing to lead the series on. Then, the final few pages being Jirro writing a report wraps it up pretty well. It left me with the feeling that we've only taken a small look into Black Torch, this mystical group doing supernatural things across the world, and I actually liked that feeling. It made me feel like, oh, we've just got a small mission log, there could be many out there, maybe, even though, series ended, it was a pretty good feeling to end with. Therefore, I think all things considered, good final chapter. Though of course everything considered, we still have to remember this cancelled manga, forced to be ended, is miraculously getting an anime. And since I've gone through it, I need to answer, is that choice justified? I'm going to break this question into 2 parts. First, answering the question, before acknowledging what the anime could do and improve. Now, having gone through everything, start to finish Black Torch, I think an anime isn't really justified. At least, not without a lot of planned changes. While over time the series has become a cult hit and gotten very popular out of Japan, it's still not insanely popular. I'm not saying a series needs to be like Dragon Ball levels to be animated. I'm just saying you shouldn't make an anime if there isn't going to be an appeal. And considering it was already cancelled, well, the choice just feels odd. Also, must I remind you, the series didn't just recently get cancelled. It was cancelled over 7 years ago. Its peak of popularity wasn't recently. It was a long time ago. So the chance of failure is high. Though that is just purely from like a money-making standpoint, because at the end of the day, an anime is a product. I'm not even thinking of the manga stuff yet, like the contents. And From the contents, no matter what, I cannot imagine Black Torch being animated in a way that fixes every single issue there is with the series, plot, art, etc. Especially in an industry where it's normal for anime to now be rushed and workers to be overworked. One Punch Man, I brought it up earlier, is a great example of this happening recently. Even though that series is insanely popular, there have been issues with its production that just suck. And considering Black Torch is a series that would already need to look pretty good and have a lot of things done for it to be successful, considering it was cancelled, well, it's got a lot going against it. But of course, I believe in success and a comeback story. I think Black Torch had a great blueprint for success. It just capitalized on that blueprint in some awkward ways. And if the anime tries to fix some of those ways and really plays its cards right, this manga could potentially come back and the anime could be a pretty big success. Who knows, in the best timeline, maybe Black Torch sees heights it never imagined. Extending some of the shorter battle scenes and, fixing up some of the weird ones would not only make her character seem cooler, but they'd have more of an impact on people seeing it for the first time. The best thing I think the anime can do though, is by improving every character. Give them some scenes that make them a lot more personable. Allow them to flourish and have some unique traits. Play into their already existing ones like their backstories and motivations, and create some good moments and conclusions for these characters that didn't get the best ones in the manga. The best examples of this are of course Ichika and Reiji. As I said, I thought Ichika was set up well, but suffers from a lack of conclusion. She's clearly intended to be a boss girl, but it just sadly never happens. Then of course Reiji and Shinji need another fight. Instead of writing Shinji out by him saying, "Oh, I'm just leaving Amagi in a tiny manga panel box," give them one short final battle that shows us who's on top. Actually concluding their characters. Though at the end of the day, there's no saying what this anime is going to do. They could adapt the manga exactly as drawn, not changing or adding any new scenes. While I don't personally think that's the right choice, it could maybe help. I mean, at this moment, Black Torch is asking for anything. It's already been cancelled, counted out by many, and it's getting a second chance. Who knows what this could bring forth? Like its name suggests, at the moment, Black Torch is a dark torch seeking light, hoping others come to it as a bright light in the darkness of night. If anything, Black Torch is a series that has succeeded in its goal of making people happy, come to it for light. And the anime is a chance to do it all again, and potentially even better. So I think we better all be on the lookout. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, go watch some other ones, they should be on the screen, and I'll see you next time. And yes, I'm only recording like this because the phone fell.